Dear brothers and sisters of Thai, my name is Vivek Kumar. I'm a charter member of Bangalore chapter, and I welcome you all to the keynote session of Thai Antarprerna Leadership Summit. They say a picture captures a movement's soul, but a video reveals the universe. So as we gather here to discuss about the motivation within, let me just zip my lip and give you a video that reveals the universe of conscious entrepreneurship. May I have the video, please?
That ensures happy and harmonious living for all is the mission statement of the world. One world, one family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. An ancient ethos that ensures happy and harmonious living for all is the mission statement of the young humanitarian and visionary Sri Madhusudan Sai. Christened as the Sri Madhusudan Sai Global Humanitarian Mission, several institutions of public service in the fields of nutrition, education, and healthcare have been established in the last 12 years across 60 countries. The Annapurna Morning Nutrition Program provides healthy morning nutrition through the Sai Sure multi-nutrient supplement to over 10 million government school-going children across 25 states and 4 union territories in India, as well as a few countries overseas. This mission has established one of its kind, completely free of charge chain of residential schools, Sri Satya Sai Lokaseva Gurukulam, along with a private university, Sri Satya Sai University for Human Excellence, which also offers free medical education under its School of Health Sciences. Over 3,700 students are currently studying at 28 campuses in India and a school in Nigeria, starting from grade 6 to doctoral studies. Sri Madhusudan Sai's vision for bridging the rural and urban gap in healthcare delivery by making medical education accessible for rural students became a reality in March 2023 when the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, inaugurated the Sri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research. More than 75% of the students come from rural backgrounds and 40% of the students are girls. Every year, over 70% of the students who graduate from the university are first-generation graduates, most of whom come from families below the poverty line. On the healthcare side, the mission has established the world's largest chain of pediatric cardiac hospitals without billing counters in India, Fiji, and Sri Lanka. Known as the Sri Satya Sai Sanjeevani Centers for Child Heart Care, over 33,000 life-saving procedures have been done at these hospitals ever since 2012. Specialized healthcare services for mother and children through the Sri Satya Sai Sanjeevani Mother and Child Hospitals, Sai Swasthya Primary Care Wellness Centers, Sri Satya Sai Arogya Vahini Mobile Hospital, 2 multi-specialty hospitals in India, 2 hospitals in Nigeria, and 1 medical center in the US offers its services completely free of charge to all. So far, these initiatives have provided outpatient consultations to over 2.2 million patients. When an individual prospers, the society prospers. When the society prospers, the nation prospers. And when the nation prospers, the whole world prospers. After all, we are all one connected whole. One world, one family.
We are privileged to have the personality pioneering this global revolution of social entrepreneurship, touching and transforming millions of lives. I have the highest honor of working with him as National Manager, Public Relations for the Nutrition Vertical. May I request you to please put your hands together to welcome Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai in conversation with Mr. Prashant Prakash, founding partner of Acel Ventures and co-founder of Unboxing Bangalore Foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So it's a pleasure to be with you, Sadhguruji, and just a personal note, both of us, my hometown and where the ashram is today are less than 2 kilometers apart. So there's a big personal relationship here, and why had a ringside view of your entrepreneurial journey. And many of us, think of what's blitzscaling, right, when it comes to entrepreneurship. And it's hard to believe that everything that Sadhguru has done has been done in the last 12 years. This has not taken multiple decades. So very rarely, Sadhguruji, we see, everybody thinks NGOs and these social entrepreneurs, don't know how to scale. But I think what you have demonstrated is that ability to scale in an area where the pure purpose is social change and making sure that the marginalized get benefited from your work. So we couldn't have had a better person today. But of course, today's discussion will be a little bit more on the intersection of business and spirituality. Maybe that's what I thought I'll frame it. And wanted to start out by talking about, maybe the 0 to 1 journey that entrepreneurs go through. And there is usually a, how do I get started? What's my motivation to get started as an entrepreneur? Is there a prerequisite of passion and purpose that needs to be there for me to kind of, harness that motivation? What's your view? How does one, how did you get started, and how do you, so the purpose came first. How does one get started in this journey?
Thank you very much for having me here in the presence of such accomplished people. And thank you, Prashant, for sharing that we are good neighbors.
Very good.
At the foothills of Nandi Hills, for those who do not know. And he has been an integral part of this mission, though he did not say that part, but he has been a part of this. To answer your question, I think it's Mark Twain who said there are the two most important days in your life are, first, the day you are born, second, the day you know why. So I think entrepreneurship is about the second day. Why? The purpose for which you are born. And if you borrow a little from our Upanishads or our Bhagavad Gita, it says, Swadharma, there is a reason, there is a dharma, there is a purpose for which everybody is born. And entrepreneurship is not just a commercial venture. Anything that is here to solve a problem, provide a solution, make things better for everyone, all that comes under the category of entrepreneurship, according to me. So value creation is what I say, not valuation. And that entrepreneurship is inbuilt. For Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, his ability to listen to the inner voice in the form of Krishna and to follow his Swadharma of Kshatriya was his journey of entrepreneurship, without which he wouldn't have achieved what he had achieved. So also all of us are born with Swadharma, that is the basic fundamental truth. Even if somebody seemingly does nothing in his life, such a person also is born with a purpose. And once we know that purpose, this entrepreneurship journey or Antarprerana journey begins. And this is what is the most important thing, I think, knowing the purpose for which you are born. Once you know that, passion, resources, abilities, skills, talents, everything will come to it, like it came to Arjuna. Once he understood, my purpose is not to fight a war to take a revenge, or my purpose is not to fight a war to establish my kingdom, become wealthy or whatever. My purpose is to establish dharma. As a Kshatriya, my duty is to establish dharma. That's why Sri Krishna says, Swadharme nidanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. It's better to die doing one's own dharma than to copy somebody else's dharma in a better way. So Arjuna's dharma was to be a Kshatriya and to establish righteousness in the society, for which sake he must fight, without being bothered about the outcomes. So I think entrepreneurship journey starts with knowing the purpose, the problem that you want to solve, the solution that you want to provide, and passion follows the purpose.
And if you look at the other dimension of this purpose and clarity, it's having clarity in the final mission that you want to achieve. The purpose is there. How do you translate that into a mission, and how do you translate that into clear goals that one can then follow? So is that as much of an inner kind of inner voice kind of working through that process, or how do you see that?
Again, I'll go back to Arjuna Krishna example because we can relate to it easily. We all know the story more or less. So Arjuna at some point of time felt deluded. He was confused about his purpose. At that point in time, he did need a voice from outside, somebody to guide him. So I think the second part of it is you have a purpose, you know this is what you're born to do, but you just don't know how to do it. Some people are very, very, as I said, we bring all these ideas not from this life but lifetime. So we are given some abilities. Some people are born prodigies, as we know. But for others, the guidance of the right kind of people, a mentorship, a guru in our context is a must to continue this journey. And Krishna stood as a guru for Arjuna in this context, though he was a friend to him, a cousin, or whatever in the other context, but here he stood as a guru. So entrepreneurial journey is not possible without right kind of mentorship. And why I appreciate TIE very much is because it provides that mentorship, the guidance that is needed for the young entrepreneurs. And that is something that comes next. So you have your own set of skills, yes, you would put them to use, but you do need guidance of somebody who knows the way. And that is very important in continuing your journey in the context of entrepreneurship.
And how does one sustain that motivation and that mindset? That because these journeys are usually decades. In your case, it's already a decade, and in many entrepreneurs, for many entrepreneurs, it's 2 decades. Right? How does one sustain that and that kind of a motivation mindset?
I think somebody who is living his purpose and knows nothing else to do has no choice but to keep doing his purpose every day. What other choice do you have? Because you're born to do that. In our case, in context, as you say, we are a charitable organization. We run absolutely free of charge. We believe that education, health, nutrition cannot be commodities. It is the fundamental right of everybody born on earth. So in that context, you see, it is very challenging. And at some point of time, you do feel overwhelmed by this size of challenges that come your way, and almost you feel like COVID was a huge challenging time for charitable organizations too, not just the commercial or profit-making entities, because donations were far and few people were worried about their future. So naturally, it was a very, very lean period. At that point of time, on the other side, you really needed to do what you got to do, because that is the time when people needed all your help. So that was a time when we had to face the challenge, but the purpose, as I said, we are here to do good. That is a motivation of ours. So when we thought of the next person who would go hungry or who would go without education, a child who would be vulnerable to social injustice, or somebody somewhere, a breadwinner is dying because of unavailability of health services and making the whole family poor. Now these considerations again rejuvenates the spirit. And when we see the impact of what we are doing, many times the likes of Vivek Kumar and others who sit in offices and administer the mission, I tell them, you go into the field, meet the beneficiaries, talk to them, and you will know the impact of what you are doing. So when you see that what you are doing is making a difference to people's lives, you get motivated again, and it fills you with a new spirit of enthusiasm. So do go and see your people who get impacted by your good work, and that interaction will motivate you again and again to do what you have got to do.
But sometimes, so in our startup world, external validations are twofold usually. You get encouragement from the right kind of board members, and of course your business metrics, and sometimes next rounds of funding and new valuation numbers drive motivation. In the absence of something like that which is external, and in your case, like you said, so do you have to derive still upon the, let's say if it's a business, it's the change that you're doing to your consumers. So what kinds of other motivations drive, sustain that energy in a startup?
I think the conviction that what you're doing is the right thing to do, and you see whether it has become scalable and it's reaching everybody or not, but even as an entrepreneur, whatever solution you have brought to the table, it starts making a difference to the lives of those who start using it, isn't it? Before all your funding rounds and VCs and other things, that very idea that you totally believe in, you're convinced about, that should be the motivating factor any which ways. Because whether somebody appreciates or not, let me tell you, all great things in the world began with no appreciation at all. It was driven from within, not from without. And those people who believed in themselves, believed in the cause, they were convinced about what they were doing, nobody could dissuade them, whether it was Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King or Mother Teresa or Swami Vivekananda or J.R.D. Tata, whoever it was. They were driven by their conviction about what they were doing is right. I think that is something that you must hold on to.
Yeah, because I see that as also something that's very distracting. If you are feeding constantly on that external motivation, that can distract you and have you make certain decisions that, in the medium term, long term, can be counterproductive.
You can't compromise your purpose for any of these other external whatever benefits. So staying true to yourself. In our culture, they call it as Trikarma Shuddhi. Manasekam, Vachasekam, Karmanyekam, Mahatmana, they say. Your thought, word and actions should be in line with each other. They should be aligned with each other. That will help you remain on your path. The moment you start pleasing people or doing things for ulterior benefits, you lose your way, and then once you take a wrong turn, it's a long journey back to the right road. So don't miss the right turn. That's what I always keep saying. So keeping your focus on your purpose and staying true to yourself, true to your convictions is the most important ingredient for being a good, successful entrepreneur.
You touched upon adversities and challenges. COVID was one.
Yes.
Was there an example where you were able to reframe adversity as an opportunity in your lifetime, and just as an example?
I always believe that adversities are opportunities in disguise. So COVID gave us the necessary pause that our mission needed to realign our focus towards our goals and ask what were those unnecessary things that we were doing, what was that which is extremely necessary that we must do. So that sometimes in entrepreneurial journey also we are so consumed by our, whatever you call it, that whole fever of achieving things very fast, that we don't even realize that we are climbing the wrong tree. And then after a long time we realize, and then it's too late. So COVID-like challenge where you have setbacks in life, it gives you the pause that is very important every now and then to take a stock of where you are, what you are doing. Is it in alignment with your purpose? Are you deviating? COVID helped us to redefine our mission in 2-3 ways. One, this medical college came out as a necessity due to COVID, because when we saw people dying, no nurses, no paramedics, no doctors available to the rural population, we studied the disparity. We came up with the idea that unless medical education is made affordable, you cannot find doctors in the rural areas. And when we did that, look at what it is doing now. 70% of them come from rural areas. They are girls, they are from below poverty line families, and these people will go back. So it helped us develop a new vision. Second, in our education system, we were a part of the board education of Karnataka as well as CBSE. Now it's those who have gone through that whatever the system, including me, the victims of it, that how difficult it was to do anything else other than just studying and getting marks and getting more marks. That helped us to move away from all that. We went back to the Indian ancient Gurukula system. We went to the National Institute of Open Schooling, and that gave us the freedom to do a lot of good things. Now our kids do many more things than what they were doing. So we redefined our education system during COVID because it gave us the time. At the same time, you are all technology people, especially you digital. Most of these charitable organizations were not using digital technologies to a great extent. But COVID made it necessary for us to start using it. And today the whole institution runs on very deep technologies in terms of, whether it is internet-based or AI-based. And we are marching forward towards that. So these all are learnings from the COVID, which I think, and above all, it tested our convictions once again that are we here really to do what we have got to do, or we are going to chicken out in the face of adversities.
Yes, and for people who may not have seen the hospital, I would encourage all of you while you're in Bangalore, please visit it, because there is no such hospital which is totally free at that scale.
Yes.
And I think...
Don't come as patients though.
Yeah. So hopefully nobody comes there as patients. But I think, what really is quite amazing, Sadhguruji, is that during COVID, during a time where, like you said, there was maybe financial paucity of some kind, you dreamt something which was so audacious.
Yes.
And that's what I've seen even in entrepreneurs do. True. I've seen entrepreneurs in the face of adversity actually, find a new, kind of redefine their, and get more clarity on their purpose, like you said. And I think that's a good time to kind of step back, like you said, and you'll find something bigger and larger than what you're doing.
Absolutely right. We as a charity during COVID times, we had to borrow money to run the charity and not cut the salaries and retrench people, because that was the most important time. And people said, this is harakiri. Why would a charitable organization borrow and spend money on people's welfare? Yeah. But we did that, and somebody from Thai group only, I think it was Prahlad, who said, nothing wrong with it. When this Indian Institute of Sciences was built, it was on a borrowed money. J.N. Tata borrowed money to build this institution. So unless that kind of courage and conviction was there in your dream, you wouldn't go that far. So we did that, and today, of course, is there for all to see the benefits of it.
The other aspect of motivation is for the team, right? So one is, okay, you're motivated. Now, how do you get the entire team aligned with your mission purpose and motivate them? And there, I guess you always have preached this idea of gratefulness and this idea of this mindset of abundance. If you give, then there is more to give, right? So how does that, in the context of your team, and how you build that motivation across the team, have relevance?
Very important question, especially for a startup. Pick your people. It's very important to pick the right kind of people who have alignment to your ideas and values. For the sake of showing numbers, for the sake of showing growth, if you pick the wrong people, you lost the battle already. So picking the right kind of people who are aligned is one thing. So all the people in our mission are those who are aligned to this idea of doing selfless work. So they are motivated by that. So they already had it in them. But did they have the courage to action it? No, because they did not have the resources or the individual courage that it takes to take up such tasks. So institution provided them with the platform to express themselves. So their individual purpose was aligned with the purpose of the institutions, and that is why it's happening so easily and smoothly. Many times we pick up wrong people who have come for different motivations, maybe to make some quick bucks, maybe to get up or go into the corporate ladder, climb up the ladder too fast. These motivations are not the reason why companies thrive. When they believe in the idea for which the company was established, that is the reason why companies thrive. So this happened to us, that shared vision and shared purpose happened. Second, we looked after our people very, very well. Even when our people said during COVID times, don't pay us salaries, it's okay, we will somehow manage. We did not do that. We said, no, you deserve what you deserve. Teachers said, we are not taking classes. Do you still want to pay us when government is not paying? We said, no, these are the times you are still our teachers. So what if the students are not around? You still are our teachers. So we looked after our people like our family, especially in these tough times. That bonded us so strong, and the loyalty and gratitude that was born out of this act, it will last a lifetime. And that gratitude is very important in our people. And gratitude happens when they feel that they have received more than they deserve. So when as an entrepreneur you look after your people very well, much more than they deserve, so-called deserve, you definitely have made lifetime of relationship with them, and even in the thick and thin of things, they will never leave your side. So that is the way why we have built our organization.
Talking about something actionable and taking cues from you for some tools that people can use to practice mindfulness and this kind of mindset. Anything that you recommend that you've seen work for some of the people that you've been involved with, and of course for yourself? I'm sure you do a lot of sadhana that we don't have the time to do, but what are the kinds of tools that you would recommend?
I think at a personal level and then at the social level, there are two ways. At a personal level, I every day check whether I am being true to myself or I am lying to the man in the mirror. This is the most important thing. Just now, Amiji said, have a conversation with God. And what is God? God is your inner core, right? It is your conscience speaking to you back. So talk to that person in the mirror and be clear that you are able to face that person in the mirror without any regrets, without remorse, without guilt. I think that is the personal side. Of course, you can do a little bit of practice. Raghavendra Pai is here, learn some yoga, some meditation. These will de-stress you, keep you healthy, eat well, sleep well. These are all at the personal level. But at the social level, I think always ask, what can I do for others? What can I give? Instead of asking, what can I get? The first question that should come to you is, what can I give? How can I help? And when you think this way, suddenly you will see the people around you, the situations, everything starts changing. And that is the secret of abundance that we talk about in our institution. We are always here to give, do more than what we ever can get from people. And that creates gratitude, that creates sets in motion a perpetual cycle of giving back. And everybody does more than their job, because they feel motivated by the gratitude, by the good things that have been done to them. So I think at two levels, you must think.
Maybe, Sadhguru, get two questions from the audience.
Sure.
Right? Yeah, there's somebody who didn't get a seat, so at least you'll get a question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The one on the stairs.
Yeah.
Good morning all. Guruji Pranam. Actually, currently the main observation which especially what we are seeing is the depleting in social consciousness. The awareness is going below the brim, it's not safe. And the chromosome mutation is more threatening and happening already. And we were, when people are assuming AI is a threat, while chromosome mutation is already at its risk. Antibiotic resistance is already crossing above the lines. Children are at threat. So what is your thought on it, especially on
the social side?
No, did you understand?
Yeah.
No, so you're saying that there are other risks that are bigger than the AI risk? Is that what
AI is a fancy debate which everybody wants to talk, but chromosome mutation and antibiotic resistance is already happening in the country.
Yeah, so at a medical level.
On a medical level, on a DNA mutation level.
Yeah.
True.
So how far away are we aware of this, and how can we make a policy or a reform? How can government intervene with being regulatory factors with...
Okay, got it, thanks.
Yes, I understand this. The diseases, especially in the coming times, are going to be more of infectious and respiratory types than the other kind of communicable diseases. And that's going to happen because of the climate, the environment that we live in, the kind of food we eat, the water we drink, and all the pollution that exists. So physical level, that's going to affect. At mental level, of course, there are all other sets of diseases. But why this is happening and how do we stop it? Living a restrained life is very important. But yogic life, which is basically to exercise some self-restraint. And this endless consumption, mindless consumption, useless consumption at times has to stop. But then all the business people will worry, because businesses scale by selling things that nobody wants with the money that they don't have. So how do we run the business then? So building a kind of a social consciousness through right kind of messaging, celebrating such entrepreneurship, celebrating such companies and leaders who have that social side to themselves, making them heroes of today. That would perhaps start changing the mindset. But yes, a lot of work will happen in the medical field. And as a human race, we have always learned to fight these issues. You see, COVID came, we fought it, we learned how to overcome it. Next, I'm sure a couple of decades down the line, another virus will be there, maybe even deadlier. But we also, as a humanity, we have grown. People died of influenza and cold earlier. Today we don't die because of that. We have become more resistant. But yes, a very restrained life, a disciplined life at individual level is very important to survive the whatever is coming in the coming times. But from the technology point of view, lots to be done.
And it's kind of strange, right, Sadhguruji, that as a society, we were known to be kind of conscious of what we consumed. And
yes, very important.
We had one of the lowest carbon footprints globally because of that.
At some point. At some point in time.
At some point in time. No, even now, maybe, there's a little bit more, but it's not as bad as... But I think where we are going wrong is in the way we are consuming, and it's like we are throwing away the consciousness when it comes to nutrition.
Yes.
I think that is, because once you don't have health, it just doesn't matter. So all these kinds of mutations, I mean, all of those kind of thrive when your body is not in that state to have the right resistance which we saw during
Absolutely.
COVID, right?
Absolutely. Right habits is the way, and no supplements, nothing, no medicines will help us. It's simply body is capable of so much. We don't utilize it because we just don't know it or we don't respect it. Learning a few good things, good habits, starting with good nutrition and good sleep. Most of these entrepreneurs don't sleep. They are suffering from insomnia perennially. So learn to sleep on time, learn to wake up on time, sleep like birds, I say, and wake up like birds. You'll be very happy and healthy. Eating habits and also your other habits, lifestyle habits, just a little control. Body can look after itself to a great extent, yes.
Thank you, that's out of time. Thank you.
A big round of applause for our wonderful speakers. I certainly think there was no insomnia here while listening to them. May I request Mr. Sanjeev Gupta of KDM to please come on stage and to give the memento. Mr. Sanjeev Gupta. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, very much for that wonderful and inspiring session.